Esther's Pet Care Service provide only the best for your furry loved ones. With years of vet tech experience and physical fitness training to provide a healthy lifestyle for your pets. No matter what the need is, Esther's Pet Care Service will provide the love and care that you would give and much more. So for more information on how Esther's Pet Care Service can provide for you and your pet, go on to the official website at estherpcs.com. The quality, the care, bonded and insured. That's Esther's Pet Care Service. Now covering the Philadelphia and Montgomery County regions.
Hi guys, this is Ruben Langdon. You're listening to ACMG Presents Talk Time Live. Shoryuken!
Here comes a new challenger. Time for your Talk Time Live exclusive.
Ladies and gentlemen, returning for his third time is one of my favorite guests on the Talk Time Live show. He is the voice of Gohan and the voice of Ryu from Street Fighter series, as well as tons of other anime and game characters. I give you, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Hebert returning to the show. How are you doing?
Oh, excellent. Thanks for having me back again.
You're officially MVP. One more time, and I'm going to have a mug with your name on it, pretty much.
Ooh, I'll take that. Yeah.
I can make that happen. I can actually make that happen. So, stay tuned for that. But how are things with you these days?
Busy. I've been in the booth a lot, which is a blessing, of course, since I love doing this for a living. A lot of games, a lot of anime, and, there's that contradiction in, well, not contradiction, but it's that conundrum, rather,
right.
Of I'm so excited to share, and I'm not allowed to share until it comes out.
That is probably the damnedest thing in voice actors' lives. I've come to know this. It's like so much stuff. So hopefully the questions that I will ask you won't trap you in any way of releasing any information. So, let's just go with the flow and see how this goes.
All right. Sounds good.
Most of it, a lot of it, the reason why I'm asking you to come along again is because we finally got Dragon Ball Super. It was a no-brainer that I knew they were going to bring it to the States, and you along with the rest of the cast are going to be a part of it. How are you feeling being back on the Dragon Ball front?
Man, I am so psyched that there's brand new animation for us to bring to the Western audience.
Mm-hmm.
B, I mean, as a fan myself, I'm excited to see where the story goes now that we've had 2 hit movies in the box office that pretty much anchored setting Super into motion. And, it's just living proof that with Toonami's ratings for Super so far and Kai.
Oh, yeah, back to back.
That this franchise has staying power with not only the old school fans, but the millennials and, their kids and everything. It's very exciting to get to just showcase these characters to a new generation.
Well, it's even further that because, I don't know, I'm not sure if you heard, but you know about what's going to happen with the 2020 Olympics, right?
Yes. Tokyo and Goku is an ambassador, right?
Yes, along with a few other iconic, others, and that's insanely huge for the anime industry.
Yeah, that's big.
I was telling people we actually did an episode recently, talking about whether is anime the next big thing in the mainstream pop culture, in the same level of which. The Marvels and DCs are at right now in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to see some things that are happening myself. We got Ghost in the Shell that's coming out. We have, a few other things that are venturing. And, now certain companies, Amazon, Funimation, Crunchyroll's already been on the front, but Netflix is now starting to invest. And I'm starting to see a gathering, a surgence of anime interest here. What do you think? What do you see in the next 5 years for anime right now?
Continuing an uphill swoop in popularity, man. You've seen the convention scene explode, where there are events multiple events across the country every weekend of the year. Somewhere on the planet, someone is celebrating the art form, whether it's video games or animation or just culture in general. And it is fantastic to see the community come together, and a lot of these conventions come from the fans themselves, organizing and showcasing and and building that community of people that perhaps feel disenfranchised. Maybe they feel a little bit of a disconnect, and maybe they feel bullied or whatever at their workplace or school or whatnot. They can come together with the people of a common interest and a like mind and not be judged.
Right.
People of all different persuasions, colors, orientations, and everything. Everybody is absolutely equal, and where everyone can feel loved.
And that's pretty much the ACMG online, we're pretty much an online con, every day virtually. It's a Facebook group that I have, that for people to do that same exact thing, to just enjoy, to become their refuge and stuff like that. So I dig that a lot. And I mean, you've been on the forefront of that, just traveling from place to place, showing your love for them as they show it back. And definitely it's appreciated.
Man, I'm a big believer in paying it forward. I love getting to do what I do as a career. I'm able to pay my bills as long as the work is consistent. Of course, I'm freelance, so there's no regular paycheck by any means.
I hear you.
But every time I get to step in that booth, I feel elated that I'm doing something that I love, and I'm making a positive impact on people, whether they just want to laugh or they just want to be entertained or just escape crummy reality for a little bit. It feels so wonderful to be a part of that.
And it's funny, just between talking to you and then listening to all of the characters that you portray. And by the way, I swear to goodness, and I'm saying this with the utmost empathy and to the heart when I say this, if Master Mel Blanc was alive, I had to believe that he would be proud of your skills.
Oh, thank you, man. That means a lot, because Mel is my biggest idol.
Right.
He is the one that planted the seed when I was like 7, 8 years old that I wanted to do what he did. And, I'm amongst a very loving, powerfully wonderful and supportive and talented beyond words community.
Right.
Of men and women that love what we get to do. And it's super, super awesome to be a part of it all.
Yeah. I mean, it's serious. I watch Bleach and I hear your Eisen voice. It sounds nothing like your Ox King voice or your Gohan voice. And it's just amazing. It's just so utterly amazing how you switch it, so good. I swear to goodness, you should do the movie that M. Night Shyamalan just did. And you should play that part.
I'll take it.
Where you change multiple personalities. At one point, you're Ox King, another hour, another 12 minutes, you turn into Captain Eisen. Another 12 minutes, why are you kidnapping somebody?
I think there's a good parody in the making there. Maybe Funny or Die should tackle like a voice actor version.
I would totally love to direct and do that. It's so bad. I'm so down with that. Going to Gohan again. I noticed, you mentioned Dragon Ball Kai, the next, the final chapter that they just brought out, and the back-to-back with Super. I'm seeing a lot of your character in here. I mean, how you feel that you're literally the star of this version of the show. For an hour, it's like all Gohan.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It feels like also like a flashback because, these episodes originally on Z were airing, in 2000, 2001 for the first time this was my first voice acting gig. So I was watching Cartoon Network and hearing my voice on TV and totally freaking out. And here comes Kai, where everyone has that rare opportunity to redo and revisit, redub this show now that we're better, more experienced actors.
Right.
It's like, wow, this is cool. And, we're hoping that people will continue to watch it and keep it up in the ratings and everything. And I've seen a lot of people on social media streams that are loving the Saiyan stuff. And that really, really means a lot. I loved getting to come back to that.
Well, the other thing, too, is now your team Funimation, of course, and Funimation now has the rights to air all of the new shows, the recent, episodes. Have you invested now in the recent episodes? Are you caught up with it now?
I have caught up with what has aired of the dub, yes.
Oh, but not the actual Japanese one.
No, because that's like 70 something plus.
And unfortunately, you don't have the time to binge.
Not enough hours in the day, I'm afraid.
I can, without even spoiling it. I'm just going to say that the recent arc, there's an emphasis on Gohan. And I think
good.
I think there's a possibility there's a reason that to be happy. They haven't really revealed it, but I'm seeing a lot of us are seeing some things, some noticeable things that are happening, and I think due to our previous interviews of Gohan, you answers, questions may be answered here.
Yeah, I have trusted the fans to tell me, since we're so far behind, that it's like, all right, no, don't tell me exactly what happens, but does Gohan have a point?
Lately, and the thing that's cool about Super, and it took me a while to get adjusted to, especially going after the first two, revisiting the first two arcs, is that they are developing the characters in a different way, all of them. This is the aftermath of everything, and they're going in a different direction. And it took us a while, but I like the direction that they're going with in certain things, and they're having more of their personalities being expanded on. So I dig that part. The other thing that I noticed is that the direction of Dragon Ball Z has changed slightly. It almost feels like the feel of the show is a bit more comical. It's in light of itself. Almost pokes fun of itself in a sense. Especially during the later episodes that you'll see. Was there any possible? I know you guys don't have any. You just basically almost go by bullet points when you're doing the show. But did they give you an idea of saying, like, change up on personalities or do something different, or be a little bit more up in the character development?
No, we haven't. We've been pretty much just honing in, and the directors have pretty much just said, hey, you guys know these characters inside and out. We're going to trust your instinct on it. But, to be fair, we also have to be guided because we haven't seen the episodes.
Right.
So we haven't done any sort of research ahead of time to know the mood of the scene and whatnot. So the director catches us up at the beginning of the session, and if the mood and the take work for the director, then, they pretty much trust what we're doing because we've done these characters for so long. They're like a part of our soul.
Right.
And, you mentioned on Super how the emphasis seems to be a little bit more on comedy. It's almost like they're going back to the Dragon Ball days.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm loving the retelling of the Beerus story and everything. I love Beerus and Whis. I mean, they are just fantastic together.
What's funny, and I'm gonna be real about this. I was a little bit taken back about the Beerus character especially when the movie first came out.
Right.
I had my reserves, and then as the second one came out, and then the following episodes started coming out, his personality started coming out more and more. I'm now a huge fan of the Beerus character. I think he's hilarious. I think Whis is hilarious with him. Is a great straight, guy, to that term, and they work together really well. So I'm a huge fan of their characters, and as well as everybody. I mean, like watching the new dubs and that you guys are doing on Toonami. Some of the stuff is hilarious, especially now hearing it the way you guys do it on the dub. I think you guys do a really great job, especially on the comedy timing.
Thank you.
It's really, Yamcha alone this week and on this previous episode, I thought, like, he is so ridiculous. He's putting his hand over Beerus. He was like, by the way, I am like the most strongest man on Earth. And Vegeta's like, you idiot. So I'm really digging the direction that this is going. It's a little bit more laid back, not as serious. I mean, not to say that Z was Z. Z will always be Z, but I like just the tone of what's going on here. So good job on all of you guys for that.
Thank you. And it's great to see that they're not doing it like exactly like the movies.
Right.
There's just enough of a change to keep it interesting.
There's some detail.
And kind of unpredictable. And I'm really, really having a blast with it. So while some fans were a little bit like, oh, it's all filler, we've seen all this before. I was like, come on, man. We haven't seen these characters in years. Well, let's just be thankful.
I got to admit, I was one of those people until I actually invested in it. And then I started looking at it. And I'm like, no, some of the stuff that they're saying within it is actually funny. You need to take a little focus on the detail. And I actually just admitted that about a week ago on our show. It was like, I took a different perspective on watching the dub versions. And they're giving me a different feel of it. And I'm enjoying the actual two story arcs. Our society, our, short attention society that we live in, we're so quick to judge before we see.
Well, yeah. And the thing I really appreciate about you, sir, is that you have an open mind. You know, you're not just dead set. It's like, well, this is what I feel, and it's never going to change, and blah, 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 blah. You are open to trying it. I mean, yeah, you have every right to be skeptical.
Right.
I mean, everyone does. I mean, there's a lot of eyes and attention, and the hype factor alone on bringing anything new with these characters is going to mean, you know, the bar is set pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with the quality of the last two movies, you know, it's like, how can you maintain that quality on a full-blown TV series, one that is amped to be full of fillers and stretching things out and everything. Exactly. And it's great to hear that, you know, the cynicism and the skepticism has been dulled down a little bit, and we're hooking you. And,
I think
that's a great thing.
I think the term filler has been used so loosely, and I think people shoot first and before they, you know, observe and ask questions, you know, in that perspective. So it's like, yeah, that's a filler, but doesn't mean filler always have to be bad. There are some good, you know, series out there that the filler are actually not really bad, if not pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that Saiyan was a filler, but he's on Kai, and he was deemed worthy enough to be in the final chapter.
I always say if there's a cosplay out there for a character, it's not bad. Having somebody go to the great lengths to cosplay as a certain character, it tells you something good. And I've seen plenty of Saiyan Man costumes in my time.
Oh, me too. And I've been blown away by the creativity and everything to see the Saiyan Man love out there. It's fantastic.
Right. All right, so here's the deal. Funimation recently did a working relationship with Crunchyroll about, you know, sharing some content with them. I remember talking to Morgan Berry a while back on this too, but that was a while back. So I'm wondering, is there anything in the relationship where it's like you guys are going to get the chance to do certain shows that they have possession of, or what is the working relationship with that? Do you know anything on that?
With who now?
Crunchyroll.
Oh, with Crunchyroll. That all depends on the studios that get hired, and the studios will do the casting. Mm-hmm. Then, you know, we're privy to that. You know, I've worked on some shows in Los Angeles with Bang Zoom that are going to appear on Crunchyroll. Mm-hmm. Other things through Funimation. It's just kind of just depending on what show lands where. Luckily, I've been blessed to work with both companies, right. And you know, whether it's stuff that comes out from Viz or stuff that comes from Funimation, right. Stuff from Aniplex, you know, all these huge giant companies that are really, you know, keeping anime afloat in 2017.
Right. Speaking of which, real quick before I move on from the Dragon Ball front. Xenoverse. I know you're not an avid gamer. You're a button master. Have you gotten a chance to button mash that game yet?
I have done a little bit of the training, and so far I like it better than the first Xenoverse.
But, there's a lot to like since the first one. They've done a lot of work. I mean, it needs still some tweaks, but I'm enjoying it.
Oh, okay. Well, very cool. Yeah, I'm going to give it another chance. Right now, I'm kind of in Infinite Warfare mode, and I still suck. But you know, I love Call of Duty. I love Titanfall 2. Mm-hmm. I really want a House of the Dead.
Resident Evil?
Left 4 Dead.
Oh, Left 4 Dead. Okay. Oh, the new one, part 2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Have you played ventured into the VR stuff by any chance?
I've only tested stuff. I don't own a PS4 or any of the Vive or the Oculus.
Yeah.
I think it's all priced a little too stiff right now.
Yeah. But at least with me, the VR, because one, it's the same price of any console. Two, I've watched Sword Art Online and I'm just too afraid to even invest.
Absolutely.
I'm opting out of that. I joke around about that a lot, but like all it takes is one person.
Sure thing, man.
Now, being that you are a part of the Funimation family, and I've heard you recommend some things, what would you recommend for people to check out on Funimation? Because there's it's a huge library on that in that app.
There sure is. Lately, there's Mob Psycho 100. I voice Mob's dad. I'm getting a lot of dad roles lately. It's kind of funny.
Don't let them typecast you.
Yeah, exactly. Eventually, I know it's not Funimation, but One Punch Man, I got to play Atomic Samurai on that.
Correct.
Hopefully when it hits video. you guys will show the love for that.
Oh, there's so much love for that character. Please. You know how many Saitomi versus Goku comments that we've been having since that show came out?
I can imagine, man.
Yeah, but
what else can be recommended?
Yeah, I mean it's so much, and you're part of a lot of it.
I can be heard on a lot of shows. And Seven Deadly Sins on Netflix. Funimation's picked up the distribution rights. Oh yeah,
because that's about the new season's coming out on February 17th.
That is correct. It's coming up in just mere days.
All right,
and I've got some small stuff on there.
Cool. I mean, it was very highly praised by our ACMG group, last season when they brought it out on Netflix. I'm expecting some really cool stuff out of that one this time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm pretty stoked that Funimation now and their push with social media and their brand new app. It's just wonderful getting, see their presence out there and, their live stream shows and all the simul dubs that are hitting Japan and America at the same exact time.
It's one of my favorite investments of last year and this year. I can tell you that.
Oh God, yeah. Fan-friggin-tastic.
I mean, so much so now that I actually now have an anime podcast that I do because of all the content I can watch, and me and another co-host, GSN Rio, she's a cosplayer, that we both watch anime together. I show her some of the old school stuff. She recommends some of the new school stuff. A lot of it, which is on Funimation, thank goodness. So we're able to do reviews on that and everything. So it's a great investment for any anime fan.
Totally. I mean, this is a great time to be an anime fan in general, with Crunchyroll out there, and Funimation and Viz and all these companies getting content out there legally to the fans, dubbed and subbed in many cases. And I hear from a production standpoint that the simul dubs are a pain in the bootay, because the materials are sometimes not even completely done yet, and it's the animation here, just guess. Really, we're gonna hope it syncs up. Okay.
Interesting. I haven't had any trouble as far as what I've been watching, so I'm hoping I just don't run into that one. I mean, I watched My Hero Academia, last season, and they seem to be on point with that one.
Oh, good.
So that one right there was on point. I can't vouch for anything else on there. I do gotta ask, have you had a chance to check out Akiba Strip on Funimation?
I have not.
Okay,
I've done stuff on the game, but not on the show.
The game is crazy enough, and I do have the game. That is crazy enough. So here's a reason. It's only on episode 5, but this episode 5 you need to check out. It's a tribute to Street Fighter V.
Oh my God! It's
an entire dedication to Street Fighter V. The whole storyline is that the guy is trying to save his sister from this, what he believes is this person who just happens to be a really good Street Fighter player, and he plays him on Street Fighter 2. Come to find out that he thought that it was her that kidnaps him, and she challenges him to a Street Fighter 5 tournament. And they actually playing Street Fighter 5. They're actually acknowledging it as Street Fighter 5. It's a whole tribute. It's a great episode. You got to check it out.
Oh my God. Does Ryu show up?
Well, no, but there's a lot of cosplaying in there.
Oh,
Chun-Li, Ryu, and Guile makes a slight appearance in there. So, yeah, you definitely need to check that out because it is heavily Chun-Li and Ryu based.
All right.
So I highly recommend that one to you. I just recommended it to other people, and they were all hyped for it, all the Street Fighter fans and everything on there. So,
fantastic.
So, all right, I'm gonna totally flip this script right here because this is something I've been waiting to talk to you about. I follow you on Twitter, and every so often, once a month per se, we get what is called a pay-per-view that comes on by the WWE. Here lies, I found out that you are a avid wrestling fan. When did exactly did that happen? And when did you start your love for pro wrestling?
Oh man, I remember being a fan when I was oh God, how old was I? Probably 12 or so. Growing up in Texas, you had the Von Erichs.
Oh wow, you were around on World Class?
I was into that stuff back then, and then
that's classic right there.
And then when I was in high school, that's when Hulk Hogan first hit, and WCW and all that. And then I kind of fell out of it when I got into college and didn't get back into wrestling until last April, WrestleMania. You see the New Day dressed as Saiyans.
Yes. That'll do it.
A lot of voice actors.
That was one of the greatest entrances of all time.
Yeah. And a lot of voice actors were like tweeting WrestleMania. And then when they put out the screenshot, it's like, oh my God. I gotta, all right, I'm going to plunk down the money, join the WWE network, tune in for WrestleMania. And it's just I've been hooked. I've gone to several tapings of Raw. I think Raw's going to be in LA next week too.
Well,
I don't have a ticket yet, but we'll see.
Here's the funny thing. You did tweet that you were at one of the Raw events a while back. And it was around the time when T.J. Perkins just so happens to premiere himself in the WWE. I'm sure you know who that is.
I do, yes.
Were you prepared to see him do a Street Fighter like entrance like that? How did you come off? What was your first impressions when you first saw that?
It was pretty wild. I wish I've tweeted at him a few times saying, "Hey, there's a voice of Ryu for Street Fighter here," and then done that with Xavier Woods too. But nothing's really happened just yet.
They are hard. Look, I can tell you, I can understand. They are hard to get in touch with.
They are. They live on the road, you know.
Yeah. It was funny because I was wondering, like, does T.J. Perkins know that the actual voice of Ryu is in the audience? I'm like, there's some irony that he probably will never find out about.
Well, that's okay because little Karibo's usually in the audience too. So
there you go. Well, no, that's cool. I thought it was really cool. And you still comment? You still do like commentating tweets? Doing.
Oh yeah. I was watching my friend do some local wrestling in Orange County this past weekend.
That's what that was. I saw that.
Yeah, and we caught the tail end of the Elimination Chamber, so I wasn't tweeting throughout that, but I did catch the last bit of it live and watch the rest on demand. So,
we watched. How'd you like it?
Pretty awesome. There's some pretty great matches on there. Yeah. That was pretty intense.
Cool. I was really happy to know that you're a wrestler. I'm like, wow. Have you ever watched NWA and stuff like that? Ric Flair's and Dusty Rhodes and all that stuff? Because Texas was very, like, I know you said Texas, so that's very Von Erich Freebirds heavy, district right there.
Yeah. God, you're taking me back here with the haze. Oh my God, Backstreet, USA, man.
If it helps, I'm in that era too, so don't feel bad at all.
Yeah, I feel so old. Skandar Akbar and Kabuki and all that old stuff. Oh,
that's all on the network. That's all on the network right now too.
Yeah. And some people just don't get it. And I get it. It's like, oh, but wrestling's so fake. It's like, it's entertaining and it's very, very physically demanding. So I have nothing but mad respect for the people up there who are not only beating the crap out of each other, but they have to entertain. They have to come up with this high energy, put on the show regardless.
Sometimes with no insurance. So
with no insurance,
not at all. So much respect indeed. All right, I want to switch on to tech talk. I always get a chance to talk to you about tech. What's new in your world this time?
Well, I have picked up a company called Insta360 that put out this little camera that plugs in the lightning port of iPhones. They're going to come out with an Android one soon, but this one's just for iPhones. The Insta360 is a 360-degree camera. Plugs into your iPhone. You can do video, photos, and you can instantly stream on Periscope. Now that's an update that you'll be able to do in the coming weeks. Right now they have some beta tests for people who can stream in 360. So I've already watched some streams and I'm already just captivated. Imagining streaming from a con to where all I have to do is hold the phone out in front of me in selfie mode, and the viewers can swipe or turn their phones to the left and right and see what I'm seeing completely around.
Oh, that's killer. That's really killer.
I've always been fascinated with the idea of doing live streaming, and now that it's become such a thing with Twitch and YouTube and all that, and now people with their own smartphones and everything with Periscope. and whatnot, and now 360 and VR.
Mhm.
It's all really exciting. The VR stuff's really, really cool, but I'm looking forward to the new gen stuff, and let's take it to a cheaper, more accessible to the customers type thing.
Exactly. We all want to live a Tony Stark world, people.
Yeah, that's the thing. As much as I would love a Tesla, I can't afford a Tesla. But
Exactly. Man, thanks so much for being on the show. I really do appreciate it. I got a couple more questions, and then I want to ask you for your plugs and get that out of the way as well.
Sure.
Real quick, any news in the world of Disney?
I haven't heard anything from Disney other than a Wreck-It Ralph 2 is going to happen. Now, people ask, is Ryu going to have another cameo? I can't say because I don't know. I have not been approached to do that. I would jump in a heartbeat if that opportunity arises. But as of now, I have nothing new on the Disney front to
I would love
hold
for him
up.
to have lunch with Ralph. Just that would be a really cool thing to see.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe he's a really good cook. Maybe he's a good sous chef. You see him just like, what do you want? Spicy tuna? Like, yeah, I'll have some spicy tuna, Ralph. That'll be great. Yeah.
I'm all for that. Turning the tone of it real quick, I want to talk about the SAG after strike. I know you've been a part of it, and a few others, a lot of others in the voice acting industry and stunt crew and such like that, been trying to advocate the right to your worth and such. And I've been following it quite a bit. Stephanie Schaff talked to Molly Flanagan, constantly talking to, among others. Is there anything new that you could tell us that's been going on since that? I know it's been a long-running battle.
There's been several marches over the course of several months against Insomniac and against some of the other companies. Not every list, but not every company.
Right.
But there's almost a dozen companies that have been on the negotiating committee, and it seems like they're still kind of at a standstill. But the negotiations will continue. They're not going to give up. Trying to get these companies to be more open to the actors about the projects they're working on. We want transparency, is what it's being referred to as.
Right.
To where we're not going to worry about, I'm recording on code A as John, and then you find out a year later that you're the lead on like a top-selling AAA game. Wow. It's like, that would have affected my performance had I known a little bit more. Yeah, little things. And then you're trying to cut down, lengthy screamy sessions from 4 hours to 2 hours, which I don't think is not unreasonable, given that you risk ruining the tool of your trade by screaming constantly.
We've talked many times about how much your techniques of how to handle that, and as good as that is, a nice little 2-hour break will be a great thing too.
That of course, and probably the biggest point of contention when it all comes down to money, where we the actors in SAG-AFTRA can only represent the actors. So we're not sitting here saying that the programmers or anyone else who works on the game doesn't deserve a piece of the pie. I think everyone. So we are of the mind that, we can't represent anybody but actors in this strike. That's what we are as a union. We're here to represent each other, but we are totally supportive if you guys want to unionize and stand up and do all that. But, residuals is totally off the table. That's never going to happen. But what we would like is a bonus day rate paycheck. A day rate on a game is up to a 4-hour session for like between $800 and $900.
Right.
So say your game, like a Call of Duty, sells at least 100 million copies or whatever, a certain high sales point, which most games don't. Then spread the love. Give the acting talent a bonus check, $800 or $900. And they even did the math compared to how much they made on a Call of Duty type game. When you're generating $1 billion, you're making more money than Hollywood in the course of a weekend. And they're, these companies are saying, well, that's just not the way it's structured, and we just can't do that. And they're like, really? Come on.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of games, and God bless the hundreds and thousands of people that work for day in, for day out, for years on end to make all these games come out. And some of them just aren't high quality. Others are high quality, and then they just get passed up because they weren't promoted correctly.
Oh, God,
Marketing
that's a whole story.
and all that.
That is a whole other story right there. Which, by the way, congratulations as a part of Street Fighter V. You guys were actually won for Fighting Game of the Year on the Game Awards. So congratulations on your behalf on that.
Awesome. Thank you. That was news to me. I didn't even know that. Wow.
Are you really? Because that was out. I thought that you would have probably knew that by now. They never even informed you?
I was not told. Man.
Jesus.
Voice actors are not in the loop.
Yeah, it actually, the Game Awards, which comes out every year, they stream it on IGN and a few other places. You guys, Street Fighter V was awarded Fighting Game of the Year of 2016.
Oh, my God. Well, fantastic. That's awesome.
Well, speaking of which, here's another thing I got to add. I mean, you may not have known about that, but during that, saying, I don't know if you've heard, or I could have sworn that you actually may have made a mention of it. I could be wrong, but Nolan North, one of the more known voice actors out there, he actually did a speech at the awards, in reference to the SAG-AFTRA strike, and it was a little bit, taken back by certain people. Have you read or heard about that?
I did, but I forgot what he said.
Well, I'm paraphrasing it. Is basically that he appreciated everything that the programmers and the and everybody and the engineers that went along, and he appreciated all that they did for him, and that pretty much, and not to quote me completely, but it was pretty much saying that he was more advocating to the process of the game industry more than it was the voice actors, so to speak. And some people were taken back at it. Some people took it under a different perspective. It was weird, and I wanted to know if you actually, because I remember you kind of chimed in on it on Twitter. Wanted to see what your perspective was on that.
Well, given on your paraphrase version, it sounds to me like he was saying what I was just explaining to you, that we are supporting anyone who works on a game for years on end. They're contract labor just like we are. Now, the people that work on those games that have a problem with the actors striking, it's like, they just come in for a few hours and scream, and they want thousands of dollars, and they're just greedy. Yeah. But we work for years. It's like, well, guys, maybe you should unionize, and you should negotiate for a fair contract for you.
Right.
I've read horror stories about developers getting totally taken advantage of, getting not paid for many hours of overtime.
Electronic Arts, I remember, had something huge like that a long time ago.
Yeah.
And their developers actually sued them for it because they were not home. They weren't able to see their families for days, working on games like Lord of the Rings and all that stuff, which was very popular at the time.
Yeah, and it just seems like when you have this negative rhetoric circling around, it almost seems conspiratorial. It's like the games or the gaming companies that are on the negotiating committee almost want everybody on the staff to have infighting with the actors, so everything will just implode, and then they think they'll win somehow.
That's kind of what I got out of the Nolan North speech, so to speak. It was like, okay, you guys have him on the forefront, or he decided to go on the forefront to say it, to put him, because it's almost like his word kind of supersedes others, and it might influence other people. And I don't know if it actually did anything for that from a political standpoint.
No, not really. It just sounds to me like he is doing what we all, well, most of us, I think, feel, that it's like, hey, man, if you worked on a game and it sold millions of copies, you deserve a piece of that pie. You deserve a bonus, something to say, hey, thanks for working so hard and doing your part as part of this very integral team. Everyone matters on these production of the games. The artists, the engineers, the producers, the writers, the directors, the composers. Everyone plays a huge part.
It's all about balance and fairness.
Right. And we want to see everyone treated fairly. Absolutely. But again, Screen Actors Guild cannot represent anybody other than the guild members.
Right.
So.
And you know what? To that I say I recommend. I highly commend every one of you guys for, fighting back and, knowing your worth and fighting for it. It's not many people out here in this world that are doing that right now. I mean, you got regular, companies and organizations that are, depressed and letting themselves be depressed because they're not fighting for the worth. And meanwhile, the companies are taking them for granted.
And also, which is very, very humbling to those in the union, a lot of people that are non-union, that aren't member of the guild,
right,
are also standing in support of this because they can be affected too.
Yeah.
If a game company had a union project and the actors are on strike, so therefore that project struck and they can't get union actors on it, the company will probably just go to non-union actors.
Exactly.
So at that point, the non-union actor has, something on their conscience, or maybe not. I don't know. They can decide, do I want to shoot myself in the foot and be a scab and go ahead and work on this project and take work away from someone else? Because, they're going to hire somebody to do the job. And I totally respect that everyone's got to eat, everyone's got bills to pay, and all that. But we implore everyone to think big picture, as hard as it is to turn down. And we've had a lot of support from non-union talent that have turned down game projects that were on the strike list.
Right.
And for companies that are on the strike list too. And that was just a wonderful show of solidarity.
Yeah.
And we hope that through that solidarity, we can help shape a future for those non-union talent that hope to one day be in the union.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Well, Kyle, thank you as always. This is always a tremendous fun time to be on the show with you and have you on. Definitely appreciate it. As always, I would like to give you the opportunity to give all your plugs out. So without further ado, it's all yours.
All right. At Kyle Hebert, Hebert is how you spell that last name. Kyle Hebert. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook.com/Kyle Hebert VO. And KyleHebert.com has all my latest convention updates. I'll be going to EtsuCon, next weekend in Johnson City, Tennessee. I'll be going all over the place this year. I'll be going to New Zealand, and
wow!
Oh, I'm just so stoked.
You are truly the world warrior right now.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, guys and girls, please set your DVRs, or at least try and tune in to Toonami each and every Saturday night for your dose of Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball Z Kai, the final chapters.
Yeah, and of course, you can always also go back to Funimation and watch the latest episode, because all of that premieres on the same night.
That's right. You can check the new shows fresh from Japan.
Exactly.
Yes.
You got triple dose of Dragon Balls on Saturday, so I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
That's right. That is correct.
Well,
yes.
Here's the deal. You're touring like crazy this year. Any chance of you hitting San Diego?
Haven't heard yet. I would love to be a part of something that gets promoted at San Diego Comic-Con.
Right.
Haven't had the luck just yet.
Well, here's the thing. Word has it that a certain Marvel vs. Capcom game is coming out at the end of the year. Word has it, still rumored, that they may be premiering something or acknowledging something between E3 or San Diego. So cross fingers.
Well, yeah, and even more than that, I think they need to call a certain voice actor to reprise his role. Just wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If this is going to happen, then hey, I want to be a part of it, man.
Speed dial, Capcom. Speed dial. Just say it.
Totes my goats.
Kyle, thank you as always. It's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate you being on the show. Please keep up the great work and keep going and doing all things and rise up.
Thank you. Thanks to all the fans. Thanks to all the listeners. And thank you very much for this opportunity to talk geek with you. And we'll see you on down the road.
Definitely. On behalf of myself and the great and wise Kyle Hebert, this is ACMG Presents Talk Time Live exclusive. We're out here. Take care.
This episode of ACMG Presents Talk Time Live is brought to you by Viewfinder's Identity Search and Design, your choice for multimedia development for your brand. Visit VFISAD.com and find out how we can make your vision your reality.